In this video, we're going to see how to analyze the motion during the throw. So not during the 2D projectile motion, but during the actual motion of throwing the ball.
What I've done, because I have a large monitor and I zoomed in on the view of the person just as they are throwing the ball upward. So starting here and as they're moving the ball in an upward direction and right before release. So for that motion upward, I very carefully measured the vertical position as a function of time using some of the calibrated tools available for the Pivot Interactive sites. Do everything in Google Sheets. It's under Google Drive, and again, it's called Google Sheets, and it is free to everybody, and it works very much like Excel, and it'll allow us to do all of the data analysis that we can't do necessarily on the Pivot platform by itself. So here I have the data for the motion during the throw. So what this shows here is we have the vertical position as a function of time, and this is again while the ball is being thrown upward. I set the time to be 0 at the beginning of the upward motion of the throw, and then you can see the position varies as a function of time, and that it was in the hand and in contact with hand for around 0.15 seconds. I also have the uncertainty in the vertical position, and this just has to do with how good I was able to see and zoom in on this motion. So you'll use the same data, so you'll copy these values into your own Google Sheets document. And now I'm going to show you how to just make a graph that has error bars, axes, and labels. So I'm going to always put my horizontal value in a column before my vertical value. So this is my X values, and then my Y values. And so then what I can do is just highlight the cells that I want to plot, where I have X on the horizontal, Y on the vertical. And then I'm on a Mac, so you might have some slight differences if you're on a PC or a Chromebook or something like that. But you should be able to find the same functionality regardless of which Google Sheets you use. Then I go to Insert, and I'm going to insert a chart. Random chart that's not necessarily what you want. And so what I'm going to do then is go over to Setup. You have a chart editor. If that didn't pop up right away, I can double click on the chart, or I can right click on the chart to get all of these options. So if I double click, then I get my chart editor, and I can go to Setup. And I don't want a line chart either. Instead, what I actually want is called a scatter plot. So the scatter chart is really the only one that we're ever really going to use, because what it does is it gives us our vertical values as a function of our horizontal values. And so then right away I'm going to go ahead and go to Customize. Always want to put this. So my horizontal axis here I want to call time while being thrown upwards. And I want to copy that. And so I'm going to come over here and put that in for that. You can see that I have a title, which is the time while it's being thrown upwards, and units, so seconds. And then I go press Enter. I can do the same thing then, select vertical axis title, and I'm going to just put in vertical position. So that's my Y position, and the units for this is meters. So now I have a graph that has my vertical and horizontal axes labeled with units, and I have it showing only the data points without a line connecting them because I've used the scatter option. I actually prefer, and this is just my preference, I like squares versus circles for my data. It really doesn't matter as long as they're visible as points. Here's where you can go down to data series and you can format a bunch of things. One thing that we'll use for this portion of the tutorial is to see the error bars. So I can click this and I will then get vertical error bars, but these are just random error bars that it guesses for you. So you shouldn't use this unless you actually know your uncertainty in your vertical values. In this case I do, and they are a constant. It is not equal to 10, it is equal to 0.01. So I put that in, and then now I have my graph. So this is the graph that you can submit for the time while being thrown upwards and the vertical position. Now, what we'll do is in the future questions, we'll come back and we'll see how we can curve fit this and actually get the equation for that. All right, so that's how, this is the data for the first portion during the throw, and that is how we make our graph for it.